I call the meeting to order for the Campbell Parks and Recs Commission. First, I'm going to call the roll.
Roll call, yes. Commissioner Abraham? Here. Commissioner Bites? Not present. Commissioner Doherty? Here. Commissioner Shibashi?
Here.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Here.
Vice Chair Teeter?
Here.
And Chair Fidrich?
Here.
Thank you.
I move that we approve the, what was it, February 2nd minutes?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstains?
I abstain.
Any noes? Thank you.
Okay, so next we have presentations. Any presentations for tonight? Okay, how about oral requests? Okay. Next, let's go to unfinished business from the last meeting.
So at the February 2nd meeting, we discussed updating the work plan items for fiscal 23 along with goals. And I modified the first bullet for the work plan to say conduct annual review of CIP projects funded through the Parkland Dedication Fund. And then I switched out the all-inclusive playground in the second one to be the Campbell Park, have the tour and discuss the progress. And then planning and participating in the grand reopening or unveiling of the event for the Campbell Park when that one's done. And then lastly, we did not make any changes to review, provide early input, and prioritize fiscal 23 projects. So just updated it to the current fiscal year. In the goals, everything stayed the same. I added the first one, participate in long-term planning and funding opportunities for pool and other facility needs at the community center. So I'm happy to take direction if you'd like other changes or allow the commissioners to discuss the changes.
I'm sorry, what is CIP again? Campbell?
It stands for Capital Improvement Projects.
Capital Improvement Projects.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment. I'm not quite sure if it goes as part of the commission's goals or not, or maybe it's a side thing. You know, a few years ago, I had talked about the idea of maybe as Campbell Park was being redone to do something around art in that park. And I'm more than happy to be the liaison with the what's that, the Campbell Improvement Commission would be, who that would be?
The Civic Improvement Commission, yeah.
So I'm more than happy to work with the Civic Commission to see if there is funding available from their side or what their interest would be. And I'm not sure if that would go under the commission goals or if that's something that's added or not. So I'm just kind of opening that up. Doesn't have to, but just something I have an interest in.
It's currently listed under goals. Is your question whether it should be a work plan item or a goal?
It could fall under that collaborate with civic improvement on potential public art projects.
Okay.
I think it was.
I have to admit, I didn't see it down there. At the
That's
bottom.
okay. It was definitely brought up when you mentioned and added. It's just COVID has really halted a lot of
Yeah.
those projects. So there hasn't been much modification other than the pool was kind of a new topic that was brought up at the last meeting.
Right.
Under the collaboration, okay, the BPAC. Bicycle, oh, okay.
Bicycle
So
pedestrian.
is there a
pedestrian.
group where we as a commission could interface with when volunteers are asked to go out and help make improvements in some of the, cleanups and stuff?
So the BPAC is about bicycle and pedestrian access
Right.
within our community and being bike friendly, walkability, those kinds of things. And trail improvements and how those can be changed. It would be collaborating with them if there was any projects coming down the pipeline or ideas or brainstorming for future projects that could be brought forward. It wasn't necessarily about, I don't know, I've lost my train of thought. Go for it.
I thought I heard in your question something about volunteers.
Yes.
And what is it that you were getting at? Is there a mechanism to better connect volunteers to specific types of projects?
Yes. I was talking to Carol Hoffman and she was walking downtown, I forget, last week, and she was headed over to Edith Morley where they were doing a cleanup project. And I
Yes.
thought, oh, well, if I'd heard and I'd had time, I would have volunteered.
We'll
That's
give you
one thing.
Bob Carlson's cell phone number. Just kidding.
Well, I will say that in general, under normal times, we would do much larger scale volunteer projects and we would invite the commission. And that has not really been the case over the last 2 years. And so that the project that you saw at Edith Morley was actually a really nice project. But it was still on the small side. So as we get into larger projects, that's probably something where we can work more collaboratively between the commission, staff, and sometimes through our service groups. And a lot of those projects run through Bob Shazinski, and he'll probably talk a little bit about that on his report out. But I think it's good to keep that on the commission's radar.
We could add under goals to participate in park cleanups and volunteer projects if that pleases the commission too.
I personally would like to do that. I don't know about, okay, yes, please.
Yeah, we got one more. Under the hold a PRC meeting in a park, can we do John D. Morgan Park? Or I guess I'd like to know how successful the all-inclusive park or play structure is now that it's open.
Sure, we can definitely make sure that happens this year.
You're saying a tour of the park or?
Sorry, if we're going to conduct a meeting in a park, can we do that park? We can kind of include it and see how things are going, see who's out there, look at the parking, etc.
Sure. I've added, just to backtrack a little bit, an additional bullet under the goals: regularly participate in park cleanup and park volunteer projects.
I mean, just one question, back to your point. John, should we make one of the goals kind of a 12-month checkup just to kind of see how that, if that park is meeting the goals that were set out for it?
I don't have any problem with that. I think maybe it can be a goal it can continue on as Campbell Park will be redone here in the near future. So some type of just status check on how things are going once the park has been significantly redone, if you will. I think it's a fair point.
Yeah, I think that's great because the city spends so much money and time on that. Doing some type of check, 9 months afterwards or so.
Yeah,
just to
yeah.
kind of
I
see.
think that's good. 'Cause we're involved a lot on the front end, but not so much on the back end to see how things turn out. So obviously we can go see it, but it'd be nice as a commission. Maybe.
What are some of the measurement things that we can put down as what we deem as successful or not successful? I
haven't thought that far ahead. I don't know, but
it's just a question.
So parks, I think many of us know, many of you probably know, there's really not a lot of scientific, objective measures in terms of parks. I mean, there are for larger parks where maybe you can measure attendance, you can measure the length of a visit. In neighborhood parks, it's really almost kind of anecdotal. So I think holding meetings in park, we've got parks that are probably more community wide serving than they are neighborhood, but holding an evening meeting, a weekday evening meeting in a park like that will give you a good sense of that, because all of our parks are busy on every weekend day. So I think if you see them on a weeknight in the summer, one end or the other of the summer, that will give you a good sense of the level of utilization. It's probably also good that we have a Parks and Trails subcommittee who's probably going to check in and let us know what they're seeing when they're out and about too. But I would recommend that where I think you're going is maybe our meeting in the park this year, maybe summer, toward the end of summer would be a good wrap up of the John D. Morgan Inclusive Project. And then the timing would suggest that doing the same thing a year from then in Campbell Park would be about 8 or 9 or 10 months after that one's complete as well. So I think we're on headed toward a pretty good cycle here. And if I could also suggest, I just caught this, that in the last bullet under Park and Recreation Commission goals, collaborate with the BPAC to identify trail improvement concepts for Campbell Park. We've really already done the Campbell Park specific one. So it might pay us, we might be better served to say, let's not call it trail improvements, but maybe bicycle connections to all city parks. Because in some cases there won't be a trail. It just might be if we can improve a bike lane or a bike route to help get folks to another neighborhood park.
Is the commission okay with that change? Collaborate with BPAC to identify bicycle connection to all city parks?
Yes.
And then after hearing Director Capurso conduct a parks or hold a PRC meeting in a park, maybe hold a PRC meeting in a year after recently renovating a park, or 9 months to a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Anything else? So Natasha, do we vote for the approval for this?
I will bring this back next month in a report, so it actually gets published for you to refer back to at a later time. So this, I think I have it all finalized for you guys at this point, and it'll just kind of be a quick approval next
Got it.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's move on to new business. Talking about the Campbell Park renovation update.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to give you a quick update. I know we've talked about we've talked about the status of our projects in various meetings in the past. Last month, we told you what the update was more with regard to the award of the contract, how the bids came in high. We were able to secure additional funds and then ultimately award the contract. And this month, we're happy to report that the construction contract is officially underway. So as of earlier this week, the part that's going to be improved was fenced off. So that includes the play area, the restroom building. And as a result of that, we do have temporary restrooms in place, hand washing stations there as well. And I think it's worth noting that I would like to think that our strategy played out well by being able to construct the new pathway that takes you down from Campbell and Gilman down to the Creek Trail. So the access to and from the Creek Trail and the rest of the park is quite nice, even with the play area and the restroom area being fenced off. So I feel pretty good about that. I was just out there this afternoon. I thought that was really nice. There will be some parking challenges, more so than normal. We know that Campbell Park is a much loved park. There will be 12 stalls out of commission in the main parking lot, and they are already out of commission as of this week. So if you get out there, you'll see what that's all about. So fortunately, there's a little bit of on-street parking there. You know, it can be challenging. In some cases, people will have to either cross Gilman or in some cases even, you know, may have to go further out and use the signal at Campbell and Gilman. But the access is there. The park is underway. And our intent, if we stick to our schedule, will be that we will be complete in October of this year, October of 2022. And so all this discussion that we're having about having a park meeting, a PRC meeting in a park should tee up Campbell Park very nicely. We will do a park tour along the way when it's a little more appropriate. There's not much to see right now other than it looks exactly the same, except that it's fenced off. And just so you do know, at this point, our plan is to stick to Monday through Friday working hours for the contractor, 8 to 5. We have made exceptions in the past if there have been challenges where we've fallen behind or had reason to have to consider alternatives. We do not have that in the plan at this point. So at this point, we're looking at a straight Monday through Friday construction schedule, looking to be done in October. That's all I have on that. Thank you.
I have one question, Todd.
Yes.
What kind of noticing or signage do we have out there that says why it's closed? Is there some kind of board or something that shows what's happening or what it will look like on the back end?
I don't know that we do. I wasn't necessarily looking for that today, and I don't recall the last time we talked about that. But if we don't, I think we can address. I think we can address that.
I think it'll help because people will say, well, look what's going
Right.
to be here. It's going to be fantastic. Right.
That would be nice for us to have a sign with maybe some of the conceptual drawings that we have.
Mhm.
That's a good idea. Yes, it will.
It's a great
Or
idea.
the calls will just be more specific about what they see in the
That's right.
conceptual drawings.
I have a question about what's on the picture.
Anybody else? Next, are you still up, Todd? On the
Well,
community?
I'm up
Track.
only in as much as I'm going to ask Ron Termina to come up here and talk to you a little bit about the community center track project. So we have some good
Excellent.
news on that. That's moving forward as well.
There we go. Just to let you know regarding the Campbell Park also, there is a sign going up. We were just out there yesterday. So there is one sign going up. They were trying to find the best spot for it. And they were talking about getting another sign to put it on the other side. So people are aware of what's coming. So there is a sign already and they're thinking about getting the second one. So hopefully that should be up. If not already, it probably will be up in the next day or so, is my understanding. So just wanted to let everybody know that on, I think it was the 15th, Becca, I'm not for sure. We had a mandatory pre-bid walk for the track resurfacing project. And it was mandatory. You had to be there if you wanted to bid on the project. If you didn't show up, you weren't allowed to bid on it. So it wasn't a big turnout. We had 2 contractors show up. And we walked the site and everything. We had one contractor that we kind of knew and one contractor we didn't know very much about. But after the bid opening, we found out that we awarded the contract to, they're called Beanon Sports Servicing Incorporated, and they're out of Fresno. That's one of the reasons why we didn't get a big turnout either, is because in Northern California, this area, there's not a lot of contractors that do that type of surfacing work. So you kind of got to reach further out. And part of it also is that being this CDBG project, there's a lot of requirements that are asked of the contractor to adhere to. And that may have deterred some of the smaller contractors from wanting to bid on it. So I feel that we have a good contractor and being on sports servicing, a lot of literature from them and stuff. So we're looking forward to it. Some of the stuff that we're doing tomorrow, we're posting the track closure we're planning on closing it down on March 14th, and it'll run all the way through April 29th. The project duration is about 25 working days is what they're telling us. You know, not that we don't want rain, but we're just kind of praying we don't get any rain because that's really going to put a kibosh to the project. So the plan is to have some nice weather, and this way we can get in, do all the demo work and put it back together. As I said, if we finish quicker, then it'll open up, and I'll let Natasha know, you know, if we're able to open it before the 29th. I know it's a heavily used site. During the closure too, there'll be no access to obviously the track or the exercise equipment that's in the back by the stadium seats back there, concrete seats. Those will be closed off too. But I'm anxious on getting started on this. It should be a nice project. It'll be real nice once it's done. Bob's been out there, trimmed some of the low hanging trees so that the contractor can move around freely and stuff in there. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. It should be real nice. And any one of you are more than welcome to come out and see the work going on during the duration. The 25 working days will be Monday through Friday. It'll be probably 8 till 4:30 or so, since we have the homes that back up there. We don't want to be there too early. So, but you're more than welcome to come out and see how things are progressing on that. So
Are you posting like signage right now to say the track's going to be closed those dates? Or
yes,
Yeah.
tomorrow we have these larger laminated green signs that just explain what's going to happen on the track and everything. We're going to start to actually will be closed down to the public starting on the 14th and then running through the 29th. All that signage is going out tomorrow morning, about 6:30 in the morning. I have my guys putting it out. So yeah, it's not a whole lot of lead time. It's 11 days. And I know we're going to have some people that are going to be pretty upset, but
I think they'll be happy on the back end though.
so, but yeah, the plan is to try to get in there and get things taken care of. So that's about it for the running track.
So question for you, I'm wondering how the bid came in versus the budget.
To be honest with you, the bid came in at 367,000, and we have a grant from CDBG for 365,000. Yeah, so it worked out real well, and like I said, we're looking forward to doing the project. So yeah, that's about it. Any other questions anybody have or anything? So please, yeah, you're more than welcome to come out there and see me while the track's going on. I'm happy to. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next we have preview of proposed Parks CIP.
Yes, that's back to me. Thank you, Ron, for allowing me to take a break. At the next month's PRC meeting, we're actually going to bring the proposed CIP to you for the Parkland Dedication Fund, and that will be really the first cut at what we're going to take to council as part of our proposed budget process. And we do like to bring the park projects to you first, so you have a good sense as to what's going on, and if you have any input in how we could prioritize these among the various fiscal years. And I think we've heard some things from you in the past, so we think we understand the priorities, but there's certainly room for us to reconsider and reevaluate. But the projects that you're going to see, and I will say that most of these projects are carryover projects. So obviously, you know, you've got Campbell Park, which was funded, you know, several years ago in the budget, but is now going to actively be a fiscal year 22 project. You won't actually see that in what's being presented, but sometimes we get questions on why aren't the current projects in there. So I just wanted to call that one out, you know, right up front. What you'll see as a fiscal year 23 project will be the parking lot work at John D. Morgan Park. So we know we've got some work to do on the parking lots to see if we can reconfigure those to gain, you know, some additional capacity. We're also going to be looking at if there are ways that we can tighten up the parking lots that are kind of in line with what Natasha spoke with you before about the some of the issues that we have with the picnic areas. So sometimes the reason people drive pickups and other vehicles into the park is because it's relatively easy to do so. So part of our parking lot work might be to see if we can make that a little more difficult. In fiscal year 24, you were proposing to begin the design of the John D. Morgan Budside Restroom Replacement Project. We anticipate that the playground will be wildly successful or continue to be wildly successful. And and as a result of that, sometimes in a renovated park, restroom capacity can become an issue. We're experiencing that and correcting that at Campbell Park. We'll have an opportunity to do the same at John D. Morgan. So we have the design money showing in fiscal year 24, construction in fiscal year 25. We will have, we're proposing Virginia Park renovation going, also covering 2 fiscal years where we'll begin the design in fiscal year 25 with the construction in 26. That park is in relatively good condition to some of the other ones that we've renovated lately. So we think that the timing will work out on that. And then in out years, we have a couple of standalone projects, John D. Morgan on the Rincon side. So we will do a building assessment to see if, first of all, to assess what the condition of the building is and to see if we can maybe change the use, if it needs a change of use, what we should be evaluating it for. We have that budgeted in fiscal year 24. And then we'll also look at the Rincon side playground, which we made some improvements in not that long ago in fiscal year 26. I should also note that on the John D. Morgan, that you won't see this in the proposed capital budget, but we're currently underway with the project to improve the restrooms on the Rincon side at John D. Morgan. So those have been closed for a couple months. It's an ADA access and ADA, it's an accessibility issue. So we are reconfiguring those with new fixtures, new partitions, improving the access. And those restrooms will actually reopen later this month. But when we do the assessment, we'll be looking at the building in total. So that's really what we'll be bringing to you officially. Just also want to point out to you that things that you will not see in the Parkland Dedication Fund, but we're proposing to fund through other capital fund mechanisms. At the community center, we are going to propose doing a certain level of roof replacements. We've done a roofing assessment of many city facilities. We have recommendations to do roofing improvements and roofing improvements and replacements over the next 5 years at a cost of more than $2 million. I don't know that we will be able to accommodate all that in our regular CIP, but it's not an all or nothing proposition. We're going to do the best that we can. So you'll probably see some reference to that. We're also going to be doing some fire alarm improvements as well, also at the community center, and some improvements related to the Heritage Theater boiler. But again, those will be in the city's regular CIP, not the Parkland Dedication Fund. And then lastly, also wanted to call your attention to, we will be proposing moving forward with the assessment of what we're calling the Pruneyard Creek Trail extension. And this would be funded with some development money that we received from the owners of the Pruneyard when they got their approval to expand and reconfigure. And if we're successful, we would run a trail spur from the northern parking structure, where the creek trail kind of has a little spur connection there, and take it all the way along the embankment, I should say below the embankment of Highway 17 out to Campbell Avenue. So it would tie in right about where the portals are. And again, at this point, we're proposing only using developer money for that. We would still have to work out an agreement with Caltrans and come up with a design, but it not anticipated that it would be a very difficult design because there is a flat space, at the base of that embankment. So that's what we'll be talking about in our CIP. And next month, we'll be focused on the Parkland Dedication Fund portion of that. So if you've got any thoughts, input, or not, we'll happy to take that now, or we can discuss it in more detail next month.
Todd, that's a pretty hefty to-do list.
It is. It is.
Actually, I'm kind of surprised. I would have thought with everything happening the past 2 years, the budget would not have allowed some of those. That's very positive.
Well, the Parkland Dedication Fund tends to do okay, right? That's the one that's tied to new housing units. And our funding has been challenging at times, but we recalibrated the fees back in 2019. We didn't bring them all the way up to what current land value is. We brought them up to about 80%. When we take the fee schedule to council in April, we're going to be looking at raising that more than the CPI. We're internally, we're talking about, I'm not sure that there'll be a willingness by the council to go from 80% to 100, but maybe we can go from 80% to 90%, and maybe we can step into the 100% over 2 or 3 years. So it would only help us in terms of being able to build new park amenities to serve the new residents, because that's really what that funding mechanism is for.
And you said that was increased, what, 2 years ago? Is that what it was?
It was approved at the end of 2019.
I'm just kind of wondering how much we got extra because it was approved versus the old rates.
I
Maybe
don't
you can
have
let us know
an-
next
yeah,
time.
Yeah, that's something that I could probably, work backwards with Natasha on the math, and we could come up with
Yeah.
a number, but
Remember, we spent some time on that, so
we did.
it'd be kind of like nice to
Yeah.
figure out how much extra money the city got from that.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great stuff. Okay. Now let's go to the always exciting committee reports. Let's start with the Parks and Creek Trails, Chair Teeter.
Okay. Well, I personally am at the Campbell Park, 2 or 3 times a week, and it's looking wonderful. It's busy. I did notice that there are 2 pretty well-established homeless camps, and Todd probably knows them. One of them is rather large. I mean, the tents and the structures almost look permanent. I mean, whoever's living there knows what they're doing, I think. But as a walker out there, you're not really aware of the people coming to you or bothering you. They're just doing their thing. They're living there. That's fine. And Edith Morley, I was by there, and my gosh, during the day with the parents and the little kids, very busy. So any of our other committee members, did you get a chance to go to some parks?
I was at John D. Morgan, and that one's always, I always think it's pretty good. But I noticed that there's been a couple of places where trees have died, and we now have big boulders in place. So, and it actually looks nice. And watching sporting events and stuff for the school, it gives you an opportunity to sit on a rock and watch instead of sitting on the grass. And then the other park, Savanovich, no, that's not that, that's the little one. Jack Fisher, thank you. Jack Fisher is looking really good too. So yeah, those are the 2 parks I'm at more than any. And then Virginia Park, that one's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes there's nobody there, and other times there can be 5 or 6 families there with little kids.
It was good coverage. I walked the community center near the track every other day or so with my dog. Everything looks great out there.
Yeah, actually, I went to John D. Morgan Park because I had not seen the completed project yet, so I stopped by there last Thursday. It was about 2/3 of the way full. A lot of kids having a lot of fun. I tried the bells. So I will say it's the one thing that I don't think will last 12 months will be those bells. I can see those breaking at some point. Okay, great stuff. I'll go over to the trees committee and Chair Fidrich. Wasn't a very big month again. Thank you for letting me take over this section. So I'm looking forward to something happening next month, though. So special events, Chair Mitchell.
I wish I had even something to report as well. Is there bunnies and bonnets? I don't think so, right?
No,
That's
there's
what I
no egg
Yeah.
hunt or bunnies and bonnets
That's
parade.
what I thought. Yeah. So not much to report on special events. Hopefully by fall, we'll have some more events. We're hoping.
Okay. Let's go over then to the staff reports. We have Parks up first, and Todd, we're back to you again.
Well, yeah, you heard plenty from me and Ron on some of the capital projects. So we're going to turn it over to Bob to talk about more about the operational status and where we are. And he's got a couple of events coming up that I think you'll find of interest.
Good afternoon, good evening. Nice to see everybody. I made some notes about your comments. Busy and wonderful is a little bit of a theme, and we really appreciate that feedback. I definitely will send out the word tomorrow and Friday when I see the staff that their work is being noticed and appreciated, and it means a lot to them. I want to let you know that we've recently hired a temporary employee who had worked here for 6 months. He had had a job offer at another agency, which I won't mention, which he lives quite close to. And I said, hey, are you going for that job? Or, we're going to be hiring here. Are you going to interview? He said, yes, I am going to interview. He actually ended up being our successful #1 candidate. And when I asked him why choose Campbell over the other agency, it had to do with appreciation. He says, I feel it when I walk the parks. The people thank me. It's a good vibe. And that's a place he wants to work. And he's here and he's doing a great job. So I am going to pass on the notes that you folks made about the facilities. And you kind of threw me for a loop there with the boulders. So maybe we can talk a little bit more about that later. Yeah, I mean, it might be a cool design idea. I don't know. I mean, that's for another day, but definitely interested to hear what you have to say about that. And as the topic of the night was busy, as from the comments from you folks, how do we keep our sites looking good? Well, one of the things we're doing is we are closing the community center's main field for 1 week only in tight cooperation with with Lauren Merriman from the community center recreation staff. And that allowed us to deep tine aerate that facility. I don't know if you guys know what a deep tine aerator is. It's a big tractor you'd see like on a farm. Yeah. And it's got hydraulic PTO mounted daggers that are about this long, maybe an inch in diameter, that jam into the ground multiple times and break up that compacted soil. All those kids playing on there and adults and everybody, it just makes it harder and harder. So what's good about that? Well, it provides air into the soil, provides water into the soil, and also allows the plant to absorb nutrients more easily. You take all those things together and it should hopefully reduce our water use. Okay, we all know it's really dry out there and we're have to turn on our water. It's a little bit early this year. And so the team is diligently checking all the irrigation systems. We have many valves, and it takes some time to just go through them all from being off more or less in fall. So that's kind of what we're doing at the community center. We do have some other good news. We have 3 other new employees that we're bringing on. They're scheduled to start on Monday, and we hope that all their background check goes through. That's another COVID hangover. So we're working on it, and we have one fellow has a park management degree, AS from West Valley. Another employee we stole away from Happy Hollow, and so we're really excited about the team that we're bringing on here. I think that they're going to respect and keep up the status with what we have going. We also have 2 new temps that we're trying to bring on board. They'll be assisting with the water truck for watering trees in downtown and newly planted trees throughout the facility. So that's really exciting. And since Bud was mentioned a couple of times, the Bud Avenue Playground, I want to let you know that next Wednesday, we're doing a walkthrough of the playground and inspecting all the plant material, irrigation, everything with our inspector and the contractor, as we will be more or less officially taking over all of the maintenance of that, good or bad. And I just want to let you know that I did hear your comments about volunteering, and Natasha was pretty much point on with her assessment. Talked to Bob Carlson, but we do have two things coming up, which you may or may not be interested. One of them is called Keep America Beautiful, used to be known as Great American Litter Pickup. It's tentatively set up for May 14th, which is a Saturday. And that would be something still more or less COVID appropriate, because we don't know what's going to happen. And instead of a large group, which some of you may have attended, where we have maybe 200 or 300 people at one area, it'd probably be smaller groups throughout the city that maybe there's a church group here and a Rotary group here, what have you, that type of thing. So we're in the planning stages of that. That's starting tomorrow, actually. And then we have our annual Arbor Day celebration scheduled for April 29th. And that's going to be at Campbell Park. And we're replacing some missing trees out there, 7 of them. And we're hoping to get a donation from the Campbell Rotary Club, and also using the Friends of Children with Special Needs as our demonstrating group. I don't know if you guys are aware of the Friends of Children with Special Needs, but it's a group that has been volunteering at Morley Park, raking leaves and doing all types of tasks on Tuesdays and Thursdays for about an hour and a half. And they bring a couple of the instructors, and then they bring the students, which the students are anywhere from 16 to 40. And they do a great job helping out at that park. I was very curious to hear when I heard the word Morley, it's like, okay, what am I going to hear next? But it should look really good. And so that's part of how we've been able to do that. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a random question. How many full-time staff do you have working on the parks? I mean, you're mentioning hiring 3 people, it seems like. I'm just curious how many people you have working. So parks look good.
Yeah.
How many people do you have working on those?
Well, when fully staffed, we'll have 9.
9.
Okay. But so remember, I'm going to go out on a limb here a little bit, but you have a car, looks great. Windows are clean. The paint's all polished. And you say, hey, let's go to LA. And they go, hey, you can't take this to LA. The transmission's shot, the brakes are bad. Right? It's kind of like that. We're really good at making the larger impact things look seamless. And our parks are in much better shape than that. But there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So there you go, to make it look like there's not much to do. Thank you for your comment. Anything else?
I did notice at Campbell Park, maybe it's been there a long, long time, but you have a big black receptacle and a blue one right by the bridge, right by the playground. And so that's great for recyclable versus just trash.
Yes.
So is that relatively new? They look new.
I'm not exactly sure which ones you mean. We do have on the side of the bridge, the east side of the bridge, we have a recycle bin.
The east, yes.
Yeah, those are new.
Okay.
Todd was helpful in getting some grant money, I believe,
Yeah, that's
to
great.
have
Yeah.
those installed.
Yeah.
So, okay,
They look good.
all right, thank you.
I wanted to just add on to something that Bob was talking about which was our staffing. And, we have been challenged with not only staffing, but I'd say more particularly with how to fill vacancies over the last couple of years. And we've kind of had this rash of retirements that are all coming through in relatively close proximity. And in parks, of the 9 staff that Bob's referring to, we have 3 lead worker positions. And beginning last October, and then maybe October of 20, and then going to December of 21, all 3 of the lead workers retired. And we have really good staff. So here's the good news. We did some in-house promotion, and we filled all 3 of the lead worker positions with staff that we already had, who are highly qualified and they do a great job. But then as you elevate them, that's that's good. That's what necessitated the need to hire the more entry level, line level maintenance staff that Bob's talking about. And so it's really taken us the better part of a year and a half, almost 2 years, I guess you could say, to finally have all the dominoes fall and we can start bringing in new people. And I think we're in a pretty good position. We do have another pending retirement, right? I think we have another park maintenance worker who will be officially retiring as of April, even though we probably have already seen the last of him. So when that position is officially vacant, we'll hope to hire, yet another employee. So we've been playing catch up with our staffing levels. So this is good news all around.
Yes.
Thanks, Bob.
And I just like to say, we have not noticed, which is impressive, right? I mean, with that much turnover and all that stuff going on, the parks still look fantastic.
Well, as
So,
Bob said, the car
Yes,
is great
yes.
on the outside.
The outside paint looks great.
And I just want to add, I'm just how impressed I am that Shared Heater noticed there was a new recycling bid next to the bridge. I mean, that's very impressive. We know you're watching things over there. Okay. Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Todd. Natasha, you're up.
All
Recreation
right.
and Community Services.
Thank you. So this Friday, the Ainsley House will reopen for tours. So mark your calendars if you'd like to go over there. They unfortunately will not be hosting any Mother's Day teas this year. So just the tours that will be going on. The wedding season will begin soon as well for the Ainsley House. The Heritage Theater, they had their final show last Friday. It was a Prince tribute, which turned out to be a fantastic show, and they sold about 400 tickets. So half the house was sold out. But it was a tribute, and still in the pandemic, wearing masks, so it's still a good turnout for us. The picnic policy, the modifications, they were approved by council, so thank you for your efforts with that. We've ordered the signs, and we're transitioning these spaces to be reservable for the summer. So the information is online on our activity guide, but we still need to do some stenciling to make sure the community understands that they're now reservable. And we did get the position through PD as well. So we'll be there working towards filling that position so that we have staff on site in the summer. The summer preview, so the online digital version of our activity guide that just has camps and swim lessons is now live on our site. And registration for residents will be Tuesday, March 15th at 9 a.m. and it'll open the following day, the 16th for just open registration at 9 a.m. So we're very excited with the new removal of the masks that will have a very positive summer. We are hoping to have field trips for our camps and have a more normal looking summer out at the park, and swim lessons as well. Recreation swim will also return this summer. So Tuesdays through Fridays, it's for an hour from 2:15 to 3:15, and there's a 2-hour time slot on Saturdays from 2:15 to 4:15. It's $2 per person, or this year we're offering people to buy a summer pass. It's $40 for the whole summer, so you can go as many times, but it's not transferable. So you buy $40 per person in your family, and you can pop in. You're always on the roster to kind of drop in for rec swim. We are also doing something new on Mondays from 2:15 to 3:15. It'll be rec swim for 50 plus population, so they can get in the water without all the chaos. And do, whatever they want to do. The fun run, we have a tentative date now for April 30th. So we were having troubles with our timer who has worked with us for years. He is not available, so we're having to find another vendor. So we are slated for April 30th. So I will have that confirmed for you, and I will let you know as soon as that's ready to rock and roll. It will be in person out at the park. Yes, it is. We've been pushing it off so that we could do a live event. And our summer concerts, I know I said this last time, we will be having 4 summer concerts. They will start June 23rd. So when we talk about special events and opportunities to volunteer, here's 2 of them for you. So we have the 4 concerts that we could definitely always use help at, and the fun run when we get closer and that gets finalized. And lastly, talking about filling vacancies, the recreation manager position is currently posted. It'll close this Friday. Hopefully by April, we'll have a new manager on board. And then the adult center coordinator, that position will be posted next Monday. And so that will be open for a couple weeks, and hopefully by late April, we'll have that position filled as well. And that concludes my report.
Maybe Natasha, you add an hour swim for 45 and older is floaties only. Okay, just go out there and relax. That's
That
my
would,
good of the game
now you're
suggestion.
speaking.
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, I did have some friends who went to the concert on Friday night. Thought it was a very good show. They had a lot of fun. Okay, so last thing is good of the game. Anybody want to kick us off?
We've had no rain.
Is that good or bad?
It's bad, but it's been very nice because the trees are all nutty and everything looks pretty. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Daffodils.
Anybody else?
It's good to see everybody. Sorry, I wasn't here last month in person, but yeah, it's nice to see everybody. And I received a lovely gift in the mail, which, thank you. I'm sure you guys probably spoke about it last time, but I was like, what is this? I had to get educated from my family.
Is that it? Anybody else?
So my good of the game is about John D. Morgan, which has been our go-to park. We're there every weekend. We have all our friends come out. And in fact, we are celebrating my son's 5th birthday party, and we rented the picnic area that's right next door. So it's amazing. That park is absolutely incredible. But it is very busy on Saturday mornings. So
Please make sure your bounty house is by a certified.
I
bidder.
did.
Okay.
Well, I still haven't ordered it. That's the problem. And my son's like, it needs to be a Mario bounce house. So, yeah.
Don't want to have something brought up at the council. Okay, I think that's it for tonight. Thanks, everybody. Great meeting. Adjourned.